Hello, my name is Vanessa and welcome to our virtual yoga class. We'll go ahead and begin by laying on our backs. Make your way there. Noticing that as you're transitioning to laying down, that your yoga practice is starting to begin right now. As you're settling back on the floor, your legs can be long. Hands can rest on either side of your hips, palms up towards the ceiling. Or your hands can rest on your belly, your chest. Invite a generous inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. You're starting to notice the quality of your breath, no judgment of your breath, you're just noticing here. And then start to gather that intentional long breath where you're inhaling, exhaling, perhaps sighing out. So this is a full breath that you can go to throughout your day. You can go back to this breath at any time. You can take that one generous breath to assist you in coming back into your body. We're releasing our to-do list for later in the afternoon or morning, just depending what time of day it is. Release those to-do lists. Arrive to this moment. By welcoming your breath, you're welcoming your experience. Three intentional breaths here as you soften and relax the body, check in, little body scan, notice the back of the head, down the spine, hips to your ankles and toes. Centering yourself with your breath. You can inhale here, exhale, side out. We'll start to bend both knees so both feet float off the floor. Rock a little bit to the left, to the right. And now drop that left foot onto the mat. Lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers right behind your thigh. Now lengthen your leg here as much as you can. You can always have a little bend to that knee. We'll lengthen that leg. You want to feel a stretch here, especially around the hamstrings, but you're also affecting your calves, behind your knees. Rotate your ankle clockwise, counterclockwise. I want to place some extra attention here on our ankles or feet. We tend to not notice here, but it actually makes a difference when we're pointing our toes, rounding or moving our foot in a clockwise or counterclockwise motion. You're opening a lot. Take a steady breath. Left foot can remain resting on the mat. Bring your leg closer towards your belly, your chest. And now bend that right knee. Grab your knee with your hands. Round your spine, forehead up towards your knee. A few times at your own pace. Forehead up towards your knee. Drop your head back. On that next round, remain there an extra breath. Inhale here, exhale, and then release. Now, opposite side, lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers right behind your thigh. Lengthen that leg as much as you can here. Rotate your ankle clockwise, counterclockwise. And now start to bring your leg closer towards your belly, your chest. Keep a length there in the leg. Breathe into your hamstrings. After a deep breath, bend your left knee, grab your left knee with your hand, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, drop your head back a few times here. And we're moving the stretch into the spine, so make sure you're tucking your chin towards your chest. And then on that next round, remain there an extra breath. Inhale here, exhale, remain. And now drop your head back. Both feet float off the floor. You're bending both knees. We're rocking towards the left and towards the right. And I'll come into a moment of pause and rest. Let's drop our knees towards the left. Bring our arms out to a T. You're dropping your head towards the right. Now, as you're here, you're being very purposeful and softening neck, shoulders, down the spine to your hips. You can imagine your knees fall further towards the floor. Notice what parts of your body you may be holding on to some tension. Learn to release, let go here. Notice it takes practice to be still with our bodies and to soften our bodies, to fully physically release and let go. And this connects with our physical, mental, emotional bodies as well. Take a comfortable breath, and then we'll bring our knees back to center. Drop your knees towards the right. Turn your head towards the left. Scanning your body and seeing where can you relax just a little bit further. Invite a comfortable breath. One more breath here. And then knees come back to center, head comes back to center. Let's go ahead and shift up to a seated position. And plant those palms on the floor, help assist you to lift up. And then we'll sit in a cross-legged position. Spine is long, shoulders are drawn down. Chin is neutral. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down. A few times here. Palms rest softly on your knees. And then after a round or two, come back to neutral. Shift your chin towards your right shoulder and hold. Notice the stretch on the sides of the neck. And then back to center, opposite side. Release your chin towards your chest. We'll shift into these neck rolls here. So you're making either a full circle or half a circle. By half a circle, I mean that you're just shifting your chin from one shoulder to the next. Now you can move quickly or slowly. I recommend lingering at any point that might feel a little sore or tense. And if you prefer to work on some meditation right now, go ahead and take a moment to do so. Re-engage with the breath. Belly expands on that inhale, exhale. Just a few more cycles of breath here. Head comes back to neutral. Inhale here, exhale, side out. And then shift your seat by pressing both soles of the feet together. We're gonna fold over here. Breathe into your boundary and see if you can fold a little bit more. Your breath is your focusing tool throughout the class. Deep belly breath. Inhale. Exhale. Start to release the pose. Soles of the feet are on the mat. Fold into your forward fold. We're gonna cup our elbows with our hands. Make sure your feet are hips width distance apart to support you. Your belly can rest on your thighs. Hands grip your elbows, rock towards the left and towards the right. Shifting that stretch into hamstrings, hips, and glutes. You can start to release your hands. Let's roll up slowly. Head comes up last, arms dangle. As you come up to your mountain pose, you can decide to take your hands to frame your hips or to take your hands in front of your heart center. Let's gather 3 breaths here. Inhale here, exhale. You can inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. If your eyes are closed, gently open your eyes. I'm gonna come into our 2-legged balance. Let's lift our arms up overhead. You're interlacing your fingers here. Can't see me, but my palms are shifted up towards the ceiling. Lift your heels halfway or all the way up. Now, keep your gaze steady.
across the floor or room. Maintain an even breath. Notice how your breath may fluctuate here as you balance. Hold. You're holding the pose, but you're not holding your breath. Start to release your hands, release your feet, interlace your fingers, either palms touching or not. Let's remain here. You're extending your elbows purposely. So you're bringing some awareness here in the upper body. Purposely lengthen your elbows, purposely bring your shoulder blades closer together. Roll those shoulders back. Chest is open. Lift your gaze first and then lift your chin. Invite a bend to your knees. We're going to fold down, forward fold. Elbows shoot up behind us. Remain here. Shoulder blades draw closer together. Now hands to your shins, 3 rounds. Inhale, halfway up. I'm making sure that I'm softening my neck as I fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, 3rd round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, roll up slowly. Head is going to come up last. As you come up to standing, bring your arms to a T. Now, as your arms come out to a T, you're going to notice your hips. To the best of your ability, you keep your hips square towards the front as you lead with your chest and your heart to twist towards the right. You're taking your gaze over that right hand. You're taking your gaze over that right hand. You're still extending right and left hand. Imagine that line of energy from one fingertip to the other. Keep this twist and then back to center, leading through chest and heart, doing your best to keep your hips square towards the front. Your hips will naturally shift a little bit towards the left, and that's okay. Take your gaze towards that left hand. Take a comfortable breath here. Release, come back to center. Either cup your forearms with your hands or grab your elbows. You also have the option of a reverse prayer. Lift your gaze up towards the ceiling, lift your chin. Hold. Inhale here, exhale, you're cupping your elbows or your forearms or in a reverse prayer. Shoulders roll back. We're going to fold down to a forward fold. Make any adjustments that you need. Keep your arm, your hand position behind you. Relax your neck. Now drop your shoulders, hands to shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, soften your neck. 2nd round, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, neck is soft. 3rd round, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, your choice. You can sweep your arms or you can roll up slowly. Hands come in front of your heart center. We're going to prepare here for 3 sun salutations. Kind of create some more heat in our bodies. You can move at your own pace. I'll go ahead and cue. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Elbows remain close to your torso as you're releasing down towards the floor. Inhale, tops of the feet are on the mat. Spine is extended in your upward facing dog. Down dog. Invite a generous breath there in that downward facing dog. Your body is active. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Hands to shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, your choice. How you come up to standing. A standard sun salutation is with lifting your arms up overhead. Palms in front of your heart center. We inhale here. Exhale. And prepare for our second sun salutation. Hold down, forward fold.
Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose. Be careful with your spine as you lift up into your upward facing dog. You can engage your glutes here for support. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Sweep your arms up overhead. Inhale here, exhale. Release your hands. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. And then lift up into your downward facing dog. Once in that down dog, lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips here and hold. Inviting a deep belly breath here. Release your foot back down towards the floor. Take a generous breath here. And then lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. 2 to 3 generous breaths here, holding, noticing that stretch in the right hip, opening there in the hip and glute, hamstring. Release your foot back down towards the floor. From your downward facing dog, shift down into your child's pose. Taking a moment of pause and rest. We can inhale here, receive anything that supports us, and exhale, release anything that doesn't. Three more breaths here. And then after those 3 breaths, start to release your child's pose. Check in with your stance. We're shifting into a tabletop, so your hands are directly beneath your shoulders and the knees are about hips width distance apart. Now press that left palm onto the floor. Reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Inhale. And then exhale, release, opposite side. Reach that left arm up towards the ceiling. And then release, lift up, downward facing dog. Hold your down dog, 3 steady breaths. Learn to ground through your breath. And after those breaths, take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, your choice how you come up to standing. Be intentional, ground through your feet. Mountain pose, hands either framing your hips or hands in front of your heart center. Close your eyes, inhale here. Exhale. Noticing that as we welcome our breath, We're welcoming our experience. This is part of a holistic yoga practice. We're working on strength, flexibility, balance. We're also working on our physical bodies, mental bodies, emotional bodies. Powerful inhale, exhale, side out, release your hands. We're gonna go ahead and widen our stance to prepare for our goddess pose. That means that our right toes are gonna face the right, left toes to the left. Nice 90-degree bend to your knee. You're dropping your tailbone here. Hands can be in front of your heart center, or you can lift your arms up. You're firing up your glutes, your quads. It's a very grounded pose, a very strong pose. Gather a breath. Inhale. And exhale. Release. Keep your wide stance. Now point your toes towards the front. Hands to your hips. We're going to fold halfway and hold here halfway. You're breathing into your hamstrings. Backs up your legs. And then fold all the way down. Now hands can rest on the mat. Your hands can grip your big toes. You can also grab your elbows with your hands. Here, your inhale and exhale. Deep belly breaths. Soften your neck. Be mindful of your neck, your head. One more deep belly breath. Lift up halfway, all the way up, grounding through your feet. Second round out of 3 of a goddess pose. Right toes to the right, left toes to the left, and bend your knees. Shoulders are drawn down. Tailbone is tucked in. You're not sticking your tailbone up where you're tilting your chest forward. Some core strength here to keep that spine long. Tailbone tucked. Deep belly breath. Now release the pose. Toes towards the front. Second round out of 3. This time, if you want to invite an upper body stretch, interlace your fingers, extend your elbows, and then fold all the way down, keeping those elbows long. You also have the option of finding a different position here with your hands, your arms. You can drop them if that's more comfortable. Feel free to hear your inhale and your exhale. Give a micro bend to your knees. Neck is relaxed. One more deep belly breath. Release the pose or to lift up to standing. Last round, right toes to the right, left toes to the left. Bend your knees, core is active, tuck in your tailbone. Shoulders are relaxed. Gaze is steady. Inhale. Exhale. Release the pose. Last wide-legged forward fold. Your choice. If you want to invite that upper body stretch, feel free to make sure that you're hearing your inhale and your exhale. Deep belly breath. It's a very releasing pose. You're folding into yourself. There's the paradox of your legs active, torso relaxed. Inhale. Exhale. One more deep belly breath. Hands to hips. Lift halfway. And then all the way up. Let's bring our feet closer together into a regular wide-legged, a regular forward fold. Feet or hips width distance apart. We're going to shift into a chair pose, another grounding pose. Inhale here. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Step back into your plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Lift up into your downward facing dog. In that downward facing dog, lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. And now right knee towards that right elbow, hover, and then release your knee behind your wrist. We're preparing for pigeon pose. Left leg steps back just a little bit. You're sinking that right hip down towards the floor. Now make any adjustments here. If you need to stay up here for your pigeon pose, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you have options of dropping your forearms towards the floor, keeping your head lifted, or dropping your head all the way down to a fist or the mat. See where your range is on this side. Different sides of our body will react differently in all the poses. Drop your belly towards the floor. You have 5 breaths here. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, curl that left toes or those left toes on the mat. Ground your palms onto the floor. You're going to lift seamlessly up into a downward facing dog. If you want to take a vinyasa, go ahead and take a vinyasa. Otherwise, lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Left knee towards your left elbow, hover and release. You can step that right leg back. You can remain here, sinking into that left hip, or drop your forearms onto the floor, keep your head lifted, or forehead on a fist or floor. 5 breaths.
One more breath cycle here. And then ground palms onto the floor. Curl those right toes, lift up, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale. Drop both knees down towards the floor. We're going to take a couple of cow and cat poses. Make sure your hands are beneath your shoulders. When we're coming from downward facing dog, our hands will sometimes shift forward. Make sure those hands are beneath your shoulders. Inhale out, moving at your own pace. Exhale, round your spine. Ideally, you're syncing up the inhale on a cow pose, and you're syncing that exhale on a cat pose. And then after you've taken a few rounds, release, come back to center, we'll prepare for balance. Lift your left leg so it's parallel to the floor. Ground that left palm onto the floor. Lift your right arm, it's parallel to the floor. Glutes are active, core is active. Breathe from your fingertips down to your toes. Gaze is steady, either looking down at your mat or taking your gaze forward. Release that right hand, bend your left knee, stack your hips. Round your spine, knee towards chest, chin towards chest. And release. Opposite side, lift your right leg, it's parallel to the floor. Press that right palm onto the floor, lift your left arm. Steady breath. Inhale and exhale, release that left palm, release your knee. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, chin towards chest, cat pose, hold. And release. We'll lengthen our left leg out in front of us. Press our right foot right against our left thigh. Invite a little bend to your knee and fold. You can flex that left foot for a more intense stretch, or you can relax that left foot. Breathe into your boundary. See if you can fold a little bit more to a point that's not uncomfortably painful. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Place that right foot onto the floor. Take your left arm out. Twist towards the right. Now as you're twisting, you're active. You're pressing your left foot towards the front, purposely lengthening the spine, taking your chin towards that right shoulder. So don't collapse this pose. You want to still lengthen your spine. Inhale. And release. Opposite side, take that right foot out. Press your left foot right against your thigh. Fold. You can flex that right foot or relax that right foot.
Inhale. Exhale. Release the pose. Take that left foot onto the mat. Take your right arm out. Twist towards the left. Keep that right foot flexed. Take your chin towards that left shoulder. Spine is long. Inhale. And exhale. Release. Bend both knees. You can take your hands behind your thighs for extra support. We're moving into a boat pose. Lift your legs as high as you can. Imagine a cord lifting your chest up towards the ceiling. Palms up towards the ceiling, or again, hands behind your thighs, providing some extra support there. Lengthen your legs as much as you can here. It's an effort of strength and balance. Take an easy breath. And now start to lengthen your legs, chin towards chest. And now drop your head all the way back. And together, let's inhale, exhale, side out. You'll bend both knees. Palms on the floor. Lift your hips just a few inches off the floor and hold. Release your hips back down towards the floor. Now lift your hips as high as you can. You're distributing weight around your glutes, your quads, or lifting up here. They're engaged, supporting that lift. There's that gentle stretch in the abdomen. Hold. And release. Both soles of the feet touch. We're shifting into our butterfly pose. Hands can remain on the floor. Hands can rest on your belly, your chest. You also have the option of lifting your arms up overhead, back to the hands on the floor. Elbows are bent. Inhale and exhale. Soften neck down the spine to your hips. Imagine yourself falling further onto the floor, onto the ground. Take a couple of breath cycles, increasing the length of your inhale and exhale just a little longer than you're accustomed to. few more breaths here. You can always make any adjustments here. Inhale and exhale. Start to release the pose. Both feet float off the floor, hands to your knees. Around your spine, forehead up towards your knees, chin towards chest. And now drop your head back. Roll a little bit towards the left and towards the right. And then you'll start to prepare for your final resting pose, your Shavasana. Lengthen your legs. Backs of the hands on the floor, framing your hips, palms up towards the ceiling. Neck and chin are neutral. This is the pose that we hold the longest in yoga or in this practice. Here we learn the wisdom of doing nothing. And then we notice that when we're being still, there's a lot going on. We're integrating, letting go, releasing, inviting in, receiving, all in that stillness. Welcome your breath and welcome your experience. You can take some long breaths, or you can let your breath go back to its natural rhythm. Soften and let go. There are no expectations in this pose. Just purposely soften your body, from the back of your head and neck and shoulders, down to the length of your arms. Notice your wrists and palms and fingers float just a little bit more. And notice if there's any tension around the upper back, mid back, lower back. Soften there all the way down to the area around your tailbone. Scan down your hips, behind your knees, to your ankles and your toes. Soften and relax here. We'll start to shift our attention to our breath, inviting a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. You can restore some movement to your fingertips and toes. Feel free to invite a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, interlacing your fingers, pointing your toes. You can also turn to your body to one side, allowing it to remain heavy and relaxed. Gather a generous inhale here and exhale. And then after another breath or two, start to make your way up to your seat. As you come up to your seat, lengthen your spine, draw your shoulders down. You've been practicing a lot of self-awareness, a lot of body awareness throughout the class. Take a moment to check in, to do those little adjustments, make those little adjustments that support you in being in more integrity with the body. And an appreciation of our body, our breath, our experience will seal the class, taking our hands in front of our heart center. Intentional inhale here. And exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me is the highest in you. Namaste.